more coveted players at his position here in the country. Let's bring in Brian Doan for a second to talk about Desmond as a player and what he's seen from him over the course of his process.
Yeah, I think Desmond's a kid that came onto the scene really in the winter after his junior season, and he is an all upside kid. He's 6'6", about 230 pounds. He plays on the edge, hand on the ground, he'll stand up, and it's funny watching their tape this season, just to help, against some of the running teams and scrimmages, they actually moved him inside to a 3-tech, and his explosion, no matter where he plays, you really see just how quick he gets off at the snap, how he can cover ground really well. He's a plus length kid, 80-inch wingspan, and it's why schools really started coveting him in terms of, it really started moving with the Ohio State offer, but North Carolina had been on him for a while. South Carolina really put a lot of energy and effort into it. And Pittsburgh, which is sneaky good in recruiting kids from the DMV, they also were heavily involved. And it's all about upside with him. They're going to have to add weight and strength to his frame, and everybody knows that. But it is a really promising starting point when you have those measurables.
Ohio State has 24/7 Sports number 5 recruiting class. South Carolina is in at number 16, North Carolina at number 20, and Pittsburgh at number 40. Ohio State was the program that we liked for much of this process, but going into today's decision, it's South Carolina trending on the crystal ball. Brian, why do you think that is?
I just think in talking to him yesterday before he was making his decision, when he spoke about all 4 of the schools, South Carolina was really concentrated in speaking about not only the edge coach, and the guy that he'll be working with a lot, and that's Sterling Lucas, but also the way the whole staff recruited him and his family. I know he had been in contact a lot with Larry Johnson at Ohio State, the veteran and well thought of D-line coach. But, if you look at what South Carolina has done, starting to recruit that area, and Shane Beamer, he goes back years upon years. You know that, Steve. He's always had connections there, beginning when his dad was the head coach at Virginia Tech. And so I think a lot of that stuff started to come together. And look, he's friends with Big Tree, they call him, Oluwatosin Babalade, the offensive tackle from DeMatha in Maryland, who committed a few weeks ago. So I think when you look at all that, I think that's why South Carolina is trending. But when I spoke to him yesterday, probably about 9 o'clock at night, he said he still wasn't 100% set with his choice.
South Carolina offered in February, and when they sent their coaches on the road, sent their entire defensive staff out to the school to show him how big of a priority he is. He's one of the most coveted targets on the board for the Gamecocks here. Recruiting around the line of scrimmage was a big priority for Coach Beamer and his staff on both sides of the ball. And this is a young man that they wanted as much as anybody on their board. And we'll see what happens here as he makes his college decision. Let's go back out there and get on with Desmond here.
Thank you so much for trusting us with it. Mentors, guardians, we know it takes a village, and we thank you for being a part of that village, and we ask you to continue to stay invested with it, not just through these 4 years in high school, but even moving forward. He's going to need you next year as much as he needs you now. All right? So Desmond, congratulations to you. Good work, and let's go ahead and get this thing going. Congratulations, Desmond.
First, I would like to start off by thanking God for blessing me and my family for all the opportunities in front of me. Without you, none of this was possible, so I give you all the glory. Continue to use me to show me who I am and who I want to be. For everyone who's played a role in my life and my youth until now, I would like to thank you for guiding me and shaping me into the man I am today. To Coach William Bill Johnson, thank you for taking me under your wing since I was 6 years old. You taught me everything I know and how to be a great man on and off the football field. Without you, I wouldn't be sitting at this table right now. Please continue to watch over me and keep guiding me in my journey into manhood. To the Louis Woodhouse organization, Andy J. Lee, Richardson, and Team Taylor, I appreciate and value all the lessons that have been taught to me and will continue to strive for greatness. To Law Street, Philip Dames, thank you for transforming me into a more mature, responsible, and focused individual. The 11 weeks I spent in Delaware, it's on many lessons I will carry for life, so I thank you. Can my family join on stage?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. To my family and loved ones, I sincerely love and appreciate each and every one of you. To my grandparents and loved ones, thank you for your guidance and blessings over the years. Mom and Dad, thank you for teaching me everything I know and giving me life. This journey has been hard, but I'm more than thankful for all the sacrifices you've made. I can't thank you enough. To my godmom, uncles, and aunties, thank you for blessing me and being there every step of the way. To my brother and cousins, thank you for supporting me and being the most trustworthy people I know. You've been there for me every step of the way, and I truly appreciate it. Lastly, to my angels that I lost this year, please continue to guide and watch over me and continue throughout this journey. With that being said, my family, Jaguar family, join on the stage. Teammates. Don't go behind his And lastly, to my Jaguar family, thank you. Coach E, Dylan, during summer work was my 9th grade year. Coach JJ and Coach Black believed me during my first year playing the end. I thank you for never giving up. Coach Powell, thank you for guiding me in the right way to greatness. Without you, I wouldn't be on the stage. Coach Brown and Coach Black will teach me everything I know today. I thank you both. To the rest of the amazing coaches on staff, I thank you for strengthening me and making me a better person on and off the field. And to my brothers, thank you for pushing me in practice and making me a better player every day. To do something special this year and win it all. And so all my guests here today, thank you for being here and showing your love and support. With that being said, next 3 or 4 days, I'll be attending the University of
There it is. Desmond Umeozulu commits to South Carolina. The Gamecocks rise one more spot to number 15 in the 24/7 Sports Composite team recruiting rankings. Not a prospect higher on the board for Shane Beamer and his staff as they continue to load up around the line of scrimmage, particularly on the defensive front. Let's bring in 24/7 Sports national analyst Brian Dung to break down this decision. Brian, what a cool unveiling there for Desmond and his commitment to South Carolina. What do you love about this pickup for the Gamecocks?
Well, it's like you said, if you're going to rebuild a program, especially in the SEC, you better be really good on a line of scrimmage. And that includes somebody that can go get the quarterback. And again, when when Umeozulu gets bigger and stronger with a year of weight training in a college program, he's going to be that guy. He already has good hands. He can keep the offensive lineman off him. He's got great burst. He can get around the edge. He's a guy you can drop into coverage, so he's versatile. But listen, the name of the game is finding guys who can go get the quarterback. And I think when he learns a little bit more technique, gets bigger and stronger, I think South Carolina found a really good one in this one.
Commit number 20 for South Carolina in this 2023 class. He joins defensive lineman Xavier McLeod, a 4-star at 6'5", 325 pounds. Xavier Hardy, another 4-star top 247 recruit at 6'5", 262 pounds. And Montague Rames, 6'5", 235 pounds. These 4 players combined have all the potential to be what you want an SEC front to look like from a size and athleticism standpoint, Brian. And if South Carolina can go out and add JUCO defensive lineman Elijah Davis to this group, I think that they would consider that a grand slam in Columbia. Let's talk about where South Carolina stands with the top target moving forward. Nicholas Harbor, 5-star athlete, could be an edge rusher, could be an outside backer. I personally love him as a mismatch at tight end, wide receiver. Where do you feel like South Carolina fits in here, coming off a second visit this summer, going into an official visit later this fall?
Yeah, I think South Carolina sits in the best spot of any of the schools. Now, there's still a ways to go with this thing getting played out. He'll go to South Carolina, then he'll go to Michigan the week after, which is in, I think, September 24th. And then he's got one set for LSU in early October. We could see him mix in, some other ones as well. But for me, South Carolina has done a great job of relating to his family. The coaching staff is recruiting him very hard, but, not in a high pressure way. When the kid decides, hey, I'm running in the Junior Olympics, and before I do that, I'm going to head to South Carolina on an unofficial visit. It speaks volumes of what he thinks of the school. And then, talking to some of the commits that are in the class, and I know how hard they're recruiting him and just telling him all the good things that he could do at South Carolina and how much they need him. And if you're going to compete in the SEC, we talk about the D linemen, and you mentioned them all that they just got, and you need to add dynamic playmakers. And whether Harbor's going to be an edge, defensive end with his hand on the ground, or play tight end, or somewhere you can split him out, do a lot of different things with him. These are the kind of athletes you need to get. I mean, listen, it always bears repeating. This is a kid that at 6'5", 230 ran at 10.21 in the 100 meters. I mean, geez Louise. I mean, he's an Olympic quality sprinter at this age if his development would continue. But for me, when I'm talking about a guy like Harbor, just get him in your program and you'll figure out exactly where he fits best down the road.
Brian, 4-star corner Chris Peel is another major target for South Carolina. And one thing we know about Shane Beamer and his staff when it comes to major targets, they're not going to be out recruited from an effort standpoint. That's how they went out for Desmond Umeozulu. The whole staff was involved in that recruitment from the corner office on down. That's how it was for Xavier McLeod and Montague Rames and guys of that caliber. And they closed this one. And Coach Powell over there at Flowers High School talks about all the tangibles and intangibles that Desmond's going to bring to the program. I think he's an instant impact type player for South Carolina at a major position of need. And all you South Carolina listeners that are still with us, you guys can head over to the Big Spur for more coverage. Brian Dunn has his story where he talked to Desmond about his decision to play for South Carolina. I have some analysis. JC Sherbert and his staff have more coverage there. So head over to the Big Spur. And for all you 24/7 sports followers, stick to this channel for more college football announcements down the road. Hit that like button on this video and on our channel, and we'll see you later today as Top 247 offensive tackle Monroe Freeling announces his college decision tonight at 7:30 Eastern between the likes of Georgia, Clemson, Alabama, Florida, and Miami. Y'all have a great rest of your morning.